Self-care isn't a face mask and a massage. Self-care is taking care of what you need mentally and physically. So if you need to meditate, you need to do some grounding work or breath work, you need to lean into how you're feeling and what's going to be most supportive for you. That is a version of self-care. I'm super intentional with my weekends, and I like to have a plan. When I was walking through first understanding my anxiety and my depression, I took a lot of downtime and I started finding myself kind of really not giving myself a hard plan and just kind of doing whatever felt good for me in the moment. But then I also kind of leaned a little bit too much to one side where I found myself on my weekends doing nothing except laying on the couch. And it not only made me feel unproductive, but it made me feel really out of control. And when I say that, I know it sounds like kind of crazy, or maybe like I'm a control freak, and maybe I am. But one of the things that I found was that I wasn't making any plans and I wasn't doing things that were lighting me up. I was just telling myself that I needed to rest. And that rest kind of almost made me feel the opposite. It wasn't really feeling good. It didn't really feel like I was doing much. It kind of just made me feel like I was kind of like laying around the house like a bum. And I'm not saying that there's not weekends like that those days aren't needed. Some of my favorite weekends are when Spencer and I go out on a Friday night and we spend Saturday and Sunday just hanging in the house, blasting the AC, doing nothing but recovering from our hangover and chilling and just kind of resting and being together. So I'm not saying that that's not necessarily a bad thing. What I'm saying is that I found myself continuously just doing nothing on my weekends. I wasn't talking to anyone. I wasn't, getting up and cleaning my house or working on special projects or, meal prepping or going and buying myself flowers or taking a walk or working out or spending time with my dogs. I just kind of was just planted on the couch. And that was something that I started realizing, like, okay, I want to be more intentional with my time. And I also want to be intentional with how I'm spending my time on my weekends, right? I don't want to necessarily just do nothing. I want to feel like when I have my time off, it's restful, but it's also providing me the opportunity to do things that maybe I didn't get to do during the week. So I love kind of making plans for my weekend. What that looks like is being very, very intentional with my time and leaning into how I feel. Was my last week really exhausting and I really don't want to go out, or go do these things? Or was my week like really exciting and like I feel really motivated and inspired and I want to dedicate, a couple hours of my Saturday to brainstorming or really leaning into my vision for what's next in my life. And then that, and also kind of looking at the week ahead and being very clear on, okay, how do I want to spend my Sunday? How do I want to break through any anxieties that are coming up for the next work week? Am I going to have some downtime? Do I want to go to bed at an early hour? Do I want to, lean into a meditation and journaling, or kind of just spend my day? Like, I love cooking and I love being like playful in the kitchen. I'm a terrible cook, but I love to just like explore and try new recipes. Maybe I want to spend my Sunday doing that. So I'm very intentional and I'm very clear on how I want to spend my Sundays or my weekends. And it actually has helped my anxiety a little bit because it makes me feel like there is a plan. There is something that I get to follow. I don't have to feel overwhelmed, but just by going to the couch and spending all day on the couch. I get to think about what feels good and what I want to lean a little bit more into. The second is really being clear on who I want to spend time with and who I want to give my time throughout my weekend to. Hold on, JuneShine break. I always think like I'm going to be able to like have a drink or like a beverage and do a podcast, and especially a solo, and that's just not the case. Anyway, so I'm super intentional with who I spend my time with. Again, like I feel like energetically, I give so much to other people. I'm very, very on, especially right now with social media. I feel like I expense a lot of energy giving a lot of like ideas to my content and to who I'm speaking to or who I'm working with. So when it comes to my weekends, I'm usually mainly just around my close friends or my close family because they are the energy that I want to be in. And it doesn't require so much of me feeling like I have to give to them or entertain them or put on a show for them. So I get very clear about that. And also, too, with my friends and family, they're very accepting of where I'm at in my career. And when I get to spend time with them, I also want to be like 100% present with them. And I think that's something that I started noticing myself too doing in my work and in my job was that I would go meet them for lunch dates or I'd go out to dinner with them maybe during the week and I wasn't present, but I was trying to fit them in. I was trying to force them into the schedule and it wasn't like I was really there with them. It was more or less I was like kind of just doing this as like a favor to get FaceTime with them. And not only did it obviously, hurt our relationship, but it also does not feel good to be with someone when they're in that place. Basically, when you're with someone that energetically is not there or there's other things that are pressing or on their mind, you kind of can feel it, right? And it kind of feels like a waste of time for both of you. So, and on top of kind of being insensitive, it feels insensitive. It feels like, that person's really not kind of there to be in that space with you. It kind of feels like there's other priorities or other things on their mind. So I started also kind of noticing that within myself. And I wanted to really show up for my friends and for my family in a centered and present way where they got Whitney that is there to be with them and to spend time with them and to be present with them in the moment. So that was something too, where when it came to my weekends, I started thinking about and really like evaluating like who I want to spend time with and who I want to be like in the energy with. And also who, that I like haven't gotten to see or that I miss or that I want to have that time with. So I'm very, very, very detailed with my weekend plans. Like it's funny because my family also knows that like if I have plans like on a Friday or Saturday, I'm usually like that's it. Like that's my time for the weekend. And then I get to basically kind of relax, the remainder of the days or different days. I get to kind of schedule and do what I want to do. So, kind of leaning into that, the other thing that I kind of offer up is I make sure that my Sundays are usually pretty like blocked out. Like I love not having any plans on Sundays. I love the idea of being able to sleep in and to be able to cook breakfast in my house or to be able to think about how I want to spend my Sunday. Do I want to go to the grocery store? Do I want to meal plan? Do I want to cook in the kitchen? And then later on throughout the day, do I want to clean or work out or go to bed early or take a bath? So I love having that freedom of being able to have that one day where there's no plans. And it's kind of a non-negotiable there where I and again my family and friends know and I'm like a freak about it, but I love being able to be like, nope, my Sundays are mine. They are times where I get to be at home and I get to be with my dogs or with my boyfriend or to be doing the things that make me feel like I'm going to be rejuvenated. And it's been great, honestly, since I've made that change and kind of set that boundary for myself and for those around me. I mean, obviously, there's always the exceptions where there's like, a family birthday or there's someone that I really, really want to see and maybe they can only hang out Sunday night. Like, obviously, those things, there's always exceptions to the rules. But for the most part, I try to block out those days and it feels absolutely incredible. So, the last thing on my kind of weekend agenda that I always look forward to is just like incredible amounts of self care. Recently, Spencer actually was so sweet. He's been like booking me like massages. We live really close to a spa. And so I'll go and get a massage in the morning and then I'll be able to like go hang out by the pool and then I'll be able to come home. And obviously massages aren't necessarily a great form of like self-care. When we talk about self-care, I want to make sure I'm being like very clear. Self-care isn't a face mask and a massage. Self-care is taking care of what you need mentally and physically. So if you need to meditate, if you need to do, some grounding work or breath work, if you need to lean into how you're feeling and what's going to be most supportive for you, that is a version of self-care.